since these compounds were released at different times, there's different amounts of data for each. So I think it will be critical, for the field to collect more data so we can really understand, the properties of these different ligands. I think one of the critical things that will be essential for the field is to understand how these ligands behave over time, because it's most likely that it's the spread of tau that is going to end up being the most important, and we need to be able to evaluate how we can capture this longitudinal signal over time with all these different ligands. So that, as the kind of a immediate future step, that's something that will happen, but by definition it requires time, because it requires a subject to come in, to get scanned, and then come back a year or two later to understand how sensitive our metrics are to capturing this change over time. From a clinical trial perspective, it's absolutely critical to have a good longitudinal measure of tau, because ideally there's all these anti-tau treatments coming on board that are going to be evaluated, and it would be perfect. It would be the dream to have a tau PET scan that would actually measure tau over time, and importantly, if you were able to target and remove tau, the imaging would allow you to determine that directly. But we don't know. We really are at the beginning stages of understanding these ligands, and which one is the best, but in terms of how they behave over time, is missing for all these newer ligands. So the most exciting thing, I think, for my research right now is just to be able to determine what are these earliest signals associated with tau PET in people without symptoms. This signal is likely very local, restricted to the medial temporal lobe, and we really don't have clarity on the ability of these ligands to detect these sorts of changes. I also think that also the assessment of these early focal changes over time will be really exciting, and an area I'm certainly going to be focusing in on over the next couple of years.